What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today's one of those videos where I don't really want to make the video, but at the same time I feel like I need to, because in the last video many of you were correcting me on how to play Shang Chi. So I just want to give you all a big thank you for correcting me, because I'm open to constructive criticism, especially if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm not playing the character correctly. And yeah, the rotations that you guys gave me made a huge difference in his damage, the speed. I mean, he's just so much better to play, and actually even more rage friendly. He's still inconsistent, but he's much better than what he was before. And even with 77% physical attack, I do have 25% pierce. Something to keep in mind, I think something that people kind of forget is, even though I have 25% pierce, maybe you have 22% pierce, but you have 100% physical attack, I guarantee your character is going to do more damage than my character, even though you have 3% less pierce. That 3% pierce between 22% and 25% isn't that much. You have very diminishing returns as your pierce gets higher and higher and higher. It's not like when you first get pierced, when you just go from 0 to 2% or 0 to 4%. I mean, you see a huge, massive difference in the damage from your characters. But when you're talking from 22% to 25%, there just isn't much of a difference. Whenever I went from 22 to 25, I didn't see much of a difference at all. But if you have a lot more physical attack and you got that, that amount of pierce already on your account, then you're going to see an even bigger difference. So that is something to keep in mind. Also on my Shang-Chi, I mean, he has 44,000 physical attack, and you guys can see his stats aren't quite maxed out. His critical damage is only at 198, and his critical rate is at 68%. And he would be more rage friendly if that critical rate was maxed out. But I wanted to keep the same build just to show how much the improved rotation has helped him. And then we have max ignore defense, max cooldown, and we do have max dodge, which is really great for the CTP of rage. No Odin's blessings whatsoever, guys, and just mythic physical attack Urus, and I can definitely buff him up, and I probably will. I'll probably end up maxing out his critical rate later on. And let's talk about the rotation, guys, okay? So the thing with me is, I'm always so used to playing with characters with regular damage procs, right? That's kind of a thing with me. I just love playing with regular procs. I like having to land everything on one attack. Whereas with, a character like Shang-Chi, who's really optimal with a rage, you got to mix up your skills. Now, some tips that were really thrown out to me in the comments were, whenever you use your 5, start off with the 5, and then, you want to do a poke, right? The screen will zoom out, and then usually that will set off the proc. And actually, it's fairly consistent, not completely, but it is fairly consistent when you do that way. So like when you hit the 5, you see the screen zoom in, and then you want to go 2, 1, 3, and then you want to go 5 again, and then you want to hit your tier 3 and then 4. And the reason this rotation works out really well, because the 1 can reset to 5, is that you'll have your tier 3 right off the get-go. Now, whenever you're playing with Shang-Chi, you always want to fluctuate between using the co-op skill, because co-op does his 4th skill, his main proccing skill, or the main damaging skill. So you always want to kind of go back and forth between the co-op, between the 4, and you're trying to kind of mix it up. Now, the thing that's difficult about this character is, you have a 9-second cooldown on that 5 from using the 1 skill. So you have to... sometimes you got to play it by ear, and you just kind of see what you really need to do. I've also noticed that his 3rd skill is pretty sick. It actually does quite a bit of damage, and you can actually do your rotation to where he only does a couple hits, but you can actually do your rotation to where you can start off with a 3rd skill, because you do get that invincibility, right? It will give him that super armor, and he won't get guard broken. So you can actually start with the 3rd skill, wait a little bit, let him attack, and if the proc doesn't engage, then you just hit the 5, let the screen zoom in, and hopefully the proc will engage, and then you go 2, 1, 5, and then you go tier 3 and then 4, right? And I've also noticed whenever you let that 5 do that poke, whenever you let the screen kind of zoom in, like right there, whenever you let that screen zoom in, it seems like, he will stay closer to the target whenever he's attacking, which actually helps your damage tremendously, because you'll find a lot of times when you're playing with Shang-Chi, sometimes when you're trying to go into your 4th skill after using your tier 3, that you'll be at a distance. He has very short range attacks, and the fact that that 5 can actually bring you a little bit closer actually really helps as far as, keeping him consistent. He's got a fully awakened power of Angry Hawk 6, he has CTP of Rage, and then he's got a normal ranked uniform. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the runs for you guys. We're going to start off with Mephisto, okay? Now, guys, something to keep in mind is, I made that video yesterday showing all these characters against Mephisto, right? Showing, why I prefer using Sharon Rogers. Sharon Rogers just fits the requirements more often than Shang Chi in World Boss Legend. That was a big reason why she's so good, and she's free to play, but so is Shang Chi, right? And this is, you know, stage 24. This is the max stage that I can actually play him in. And yesterday, whenever I was showing this, you know, it took about 40 seconds because we had a terrible run playing with him, right? Now see right there, I kind of got away, and then I got close. Now look at that. So we actually did it much faster. That was about 35 seconds. I actually think it could have done it even faster than that. But a big improvement as far as, you know, using the right rotation. And, you know, just because I say that, you know, I think one character is actually better than another character doesn't mean that, you know, a character like Shang-Chi is bad. You know, I think some people may take like insult to it, or maybe they just were, you know, insulted by the way that I was playing him. You know, I wasn't playing him optimally, right? I wasn't using his tier 3 as often as what, well, I am right now. Right? And it does make a huge difference. It does make a big difference in his damage output to be able to do this more accurately, right? I'm going to get behind him. Okay. And, you know, and something I've always loved about this character is the fact that he has such godly survivability, right? The heal on his 3rd skill, the 100% recovery heal on his tier 3 is just, it's just insane, right? And I do switch him whenever I'm playing with him with Mephisto, because he does, I mean, he's got decent movement speed. It's not terrible, right? If I had a couple movement speed strikers, or if I had some movement speed on my cards, he probably would be fast enough to avoid all this, but Wave is just so fast. I mean, she's literally the Flash of Marvel Future Fight. So I tend to kind of like to use her. And right there, you guys saw that I used the co-op. I mean, yeah, he melts bars, right? He melts bars. He absolutely destroys this, even though he does have a type disadvantage. And this is kind of what I wanted to do today. I just wanted to show you guys that, you know, just because I say a character, you know, one character is better than the other, doesn't mean that the other character isn't, you know, maybe as good, or that they're terrible or anything. You know, Shang-Chi's awesome, man. He's one of the best characters in the game. Free to play or not, he's one of the best characters in the game. It's just, he requires a lot of practice. I spent a few hours last night playing this guy, practicing his rotations over and over and over from the rotations that many of you gave me in those comments from the previous video. And yeah, it obviously helped big time, right? Tremendously for him. He's doing so much better. That's not fine. I did kind of modify it because sometimes I will use the 3rd skill first instead of the 5th skill. But either way, the rotation's pretty similar for the most part, right? The damage is going to be pretty much the same. But I do find every once in a while, even with the newer rotations, sometimes the proc doesn't engage, but maybe it's because I have that 68% critical rate, right? If I had max 75%, it would make a difference, right? And I think he would be, you know, more consistent if I did have that. Now he's just going to melt. And yeah, you know, 3-minute clear, guys. That's pretty fast. That's pretty damn fast for old boy. 3 minutes is pretty damn quick. Not too shabby at all. So now we're going to jump over to stage 41 against Null, right? Now before I did his clear against stage 40 Null, and I only had 5 seconds left on the run. Now, I've actually done this run faster than what you guys are going to see, but what I want you to pay attention to is how fast I do the first phase, just the first phase against Null, right? A lot of, before, whenever I would do, you know, my previous rotation, I would have like, I mean, it'd probably take me, you know, a minute, almost 2 minutes just to do this first phase, okay? And with this improved rotation that, again, all of you gave me in the comments, there was a huge difference, right? A huge difference. And anytime I make a video, right, and showcasing a character or talking about a character, I always want to do the optimal rotation. I always want to play them the best I can so they get an accurate representation of their power levels, right? I always want to do that, right? And that's really the main reason for this video, is to kind of show that, you know, he's actually a lot better than what I even showed him to be. I always knew he was godly, but he's even more godly than what I thought, right there. So there you saw the 5th skill. It took a little bit for the proc to actually engage, but it did. And look at the time, guys. Look at the bars that we got right now, right? We're just a little bit below the 35th bar, and we're down to 3 minutes and 50 seconds. I mean, he is flying through this. So, I mean, it stayed, look at that. 1 minute and 15 seconds, he did the first phase of this thing. That is fast. Before, it took me easily 1 minute 45 or even a little bit longer to do the first phase. It shaved off, the newer rotation shaved off over 30 seconds, actually probably around 40 seconds compared to what I was doing before. That is a godly improvement, right? It's huge. It's just a massive improvement. Now, a little trick with Shang Chi is, like right there, I was just waiting for the 5 to kind of get off cooldown. That way I can reset that 1, because you do have that 9-second cooldown on it. And you'll see me go ahead and hit the 1 to reset the 5, and then I can go ahead and go into my tier 3, right? And try to get in some damage. There we go. Now you gotta be real careful, because whenever Null does his little spreading thing, right? The symbiotes kind of come flying out of him, where he kind of goes into a little bit of a frenzy. Shang-Chi can get interrupted whenever he's doing that. So you gotta be real careful whenever he does that. But other than that, not really. There we go. Now, whenever he does his tier 3, I kind of screwed up there a little bit, but whenever he does his tier 3, he'll go into an iframe, and that's why, you know, Null won't attack, because he doesn't know where you're at, because you're in iframe, and that's why sometimes it is difficult to go into your skills after doing your tier 3, but like I said earlier, if you play him a little bit different, and you use that 5 to do that poke and get close, he'll actually close that gap, and it'll actually be a lot easier to go into your skills. So at least I found that out even after further testing of doing this run here. But I wanted to keep this run for you guys. I wanted to show you this one, because, especially because of that first phase, how fast he did it. That was pretty damn quick, man. Minute 15 seconds is pretty nuts. I was pretty blown away by that. All right, and now what I'm doing is I'm trying to get down to my cooldown, so that way I can use my tier 3. There we go. And smack-a-wacka. Now I'm just trying to use my skills just to kind of build up, get that cooldown off on my tier 3. And Shang-Chi can actually outrun this pretty quick, but because I was kind of pushing my limits there, I wanted to go ahead and switch to wave. There we go. And the thing that's nice is once you use that tier 3, even when you get hit by the purple attacks, even at stage 41 with that 100% recovery, he won't die. Shang-Chi will not die. There are few characters, that can actually tank something like that. I mean, usually the characters that I play with, they just die instantly, right? And that really is something that's pretty relieving about this character, is you don't have to worry about proking. You don't have to worry about dying with him for the most part. I mean, he can die, obviously. But I mean, just with some decent gameplay, you don't have to worry about it. Oh, there we go. And definitely, you know, you getting his tier 3 involved is just the way to go, because his damage won't be near as good until you do that tier 3, getting that nice big damage proc, that 150% damage proc on that tier 3 plus the chain hit damage. Man, I mean, the dude does hit like a freaking truck. Now see right there, see, we could have done this way faster. If I would have got that bar down, look how close we are to the next phase. I could have done this way faster than what I'm actually going to show you now. And I've actually finished the fight against Null with a good 40-45 seconds left to spare after practicing. But again, I wanted to show you guys this run because of the first phase, just to show you how fast he could actually do that. But yeah, I mean, this could have been a little bit better run if that proc would have engaged a little bit earlier. Previously, we could have got down to this last phase a little quicker and probably would have had almost a minute to spare. This was actually a pretty good run. We probably would have damn near had a minute to spare finishing it. But because that happened, it kind of slowed us down a little bit, and the fight ended up taking a little bit longer than normal. So it's not a perfect run by any means. There we go. Okay, it's in that iframe. Get close. I mean, 19 seconds to spare, but you guys saw, like, easily we could have done way better. We could have had a much better time than this. I really feel like this run could have been, we could have had almost maybe a minute left if he would have gotten down to that next phase. Man, we were so close, and that pretty much killed us on this run. But that's how it goes, you know, with procs, right? You know, sometimes procs come late, sometimes they come early, and that's kind of the thing that sucks about any proc, whether it's a damage proc, whether it's a proc on a CTB of Rage, it really doesn't matter, but it really does show how strong this character is. And I just wanted to kind of represent Shang-Chi better than what I have in the past. So hopefully this video will help somebody out there, and let me know what y'all think about Shang-Chi getting it done. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link is in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.